Welcome in. Paul Plack here. I'm talking with Dan Gryder today. Dan has a very interesting operation going in the Atlanta area for, I guess, nostalgia buffs and anyone who's interested in classic aircraft. Dan, I want to talk to you today about your flight school's offering of type ratings in the Douglas DC-3. This to me sounds so anachronistic, it's fascinating. Who in this day and age needs a type rating in a DC-3?
Well, that's the neat part of this deal. There isn't anybody that really needs one, and that's why we sell so many of them. But people come in, we have a great time, and they go home with a type rating. It's pretty much useless. You don't need one of these. If you need one, don't call me, but we will have a great time, and we'll probably play some bluegrass, but we're going to fly the airplane, and you will get a type rating out of it, and it's a great experience.
So if I understand you correctly, they're coming to you for a type rating, but also instrument proficiency.
Yeah, sometimes we're on instruments, so you need to be proficient in a lot of different stuff. So the instrument proficiency is not required, but if you like that kind of stuff, we have that too.
What is the point in having a type rating in any aircraft? I guess for those of our viewers who have not pursued an aviation career, what does a type rating require and what does it enable you to do?
Well, the FAA has said that in order to fly aircraft, typically that are over 12,500 pounds, you have to have a specific type training in that aircraft, and they actually, for instance, DC-10 or 747 or something like that, when you complete your training, it's such a big airplane and so many systems on it that they'll stamp 747 on your certificate. The DC-3 falls into that category, and they require you to have one of those on your pilot's license that's specifically stamped that way. So that concept has been around a long time, and even though it's not a 400,000-pound airplane, it's still well over 12.5, and the FAA requires a type rating.
How many DC-3s are there left flying in the world today?
There's probably quite a few left in the world. They're still used a lot in some of the third world countries, and around you'll see them all over the place. In the States, there's not much use for them here left anymore. There's probably, I estimate, less than 100 left flying in the States.
All right, we're talking with Dan Gryder about his offering of a type rating in the Douglas DC-3, and we'll be back with more in a moment.
Aero-TV is brought to you by Cirrus aircraft have always been easy to fly. Now they're easier than ever to buy. A complete line of ownership programs gives you everything you need to purchase, trade, finance, lease, insure, and warranty your Cirrus. There's even an ownership program for non-pilots. The Cirrus Access Pilot can teach you how to fly or fly the plane for you. Find out more at www.cirrusdesign.com. Cirrus, with a love of flying.
Dan, there must be an awful lot of great stories that come out of this work because, like you say, nobody does this because they need to. Is there anything that stands out in your experience with students of who were the candidates who had the most interesting stories coming into this program?
You know, we've had a lot of them, Paul. A lot of people with just all kinds of varying backgrounds, from kids, high school kids, all the way through people late in life wanting to notch this one as one of their last accomplishments. In fact, just a month ago I had a World War II veteran that flew the C-47, came in, and he did not pick up a type rating, but they bought him an hour and a half of duel in the airplane, and he hadn't flown the airplane for 64 some years, and it was an honor to put him in the left seat and let him make a takeoff. And things like that are just an absolute honor to get to do. But they come from all walks of life, all over the world. We've had customers from Australia and Germany and England and Switzerland and Canada and Mexico. And they just seem to keep coming, none of them for any particular real reason other than just to fly the airplane.
Does the DC-3 type rating on your pilot certificate still carry any weight with employment? I would think it would, if nothing else, make you someone they'd want to interview.
Well, a little bit, but mostly if you take your DC-3 type rating and go to any Waffle House, if you present $2, you can get a free cup of coffee.
Okay, touche. Let's talk about what's involved in getting the type rating. How many hours are involved? How much expense is generally incurred by someone who's going through the whole program?
We have two programs. The main one, our pilot and command, or our PSC course, is $14,000. It's a 7-day course, and that includes 10 hours of flying, ground school, books, and everything that you need. Our other course that we sell a lot more than that is our second in command course, and students still sit left seat. They fly the DC-3, they act as a captain in training, and they get 2.3 hours in the left seat, plus as many as 4 or 5 or 6 more hours in the jump seat while another person does the course in conjunction. That course is $3,220, and that's what we sell the most of.
You seem to have found every possible thing you can do with this airplane. Is there anything you envision in the future with the DC-3, and how long do you intend to keep it?
I'm going to keep it as long as I can keep it going. You know, these airplanes are going away rapidly. There will be a day where cost of gas and cost of maintenance makes it prohibitive for a guy like me to own one, because I'm not a large multi-billion-dollar corporation. You know, I'm just a regular guy with an airplane, and the only way I can keep it going is through air shows and flight training and sponsorship. And I love it. I love flying. You know, I've had the airplane for almost 8 years. I've only flown it from the left seat myself twice. I've never left the right seat, and that gives me a lot of pleasure to sit over there and allow other people to do the flying, just like we've done here this week at Sun and Fun all week long. But to answer your question, I'm going to keep it going as long as I can, and at that point, you know, you're going to see a lot of the other DC-3s probably in boneyards too. They're just going to be too expensive to keep going.
Aero-TV is brought to you by...
Today, there is an affordable, high-performance, easy-to-own and easy-to-operate very light jet designed with you in mind. Far less expensive than any other twin-engine jet to buy, it is also the least expensive to own and operate. It is the Eclipse 500, the jet that's easy to buy, easy to fly, and fun to own. The jet for you.
Welcome back. Paul Plack here with Dan Gryder. And we're talking about the DC-3 type rating, and we've kind of talked that one out, Dan. Let's talk about what people see you do at air shows. I wondered if there's any place further to take the DC-3 in your performance. And it sounds like maybe you have a couple of things in mind for down the road.
Well, I'm a dreamer, Paul, and I do have a couple plans that I would like to try in the future. We got plans in the works right now. Hopefully, maybe next year at Sun and Fun, I have two goals. One, I'd like to roll the DC-3 at Sun and Fun here in our air show performance. And the aircraft will definitely do it. We haven't done it before, but it'll definitely do it. And the other thing I'd like to do, I would dearly love to do, just like I've done with 50 other general aviation airplanes, is dead stick it. And you're a pilot, you've probably dead sticked a 150 or 172. Dead sticking an airplane is just not that big of a deal, and I'm convinced that the DC-3 will dead stick and just shut the other engine down, and we'll land with no engines running, just like Bob Hoover did. And I think if I could do those two, that would just make my week down here if I could incorporate those into the performance. And I think people would like to see it.
You know, if you read any of the news stories about things that have gone wrong on airliners, the thing that terrifies people more than anything is the idea that an engine would quit in an airplane. To see somebody do it intentionally, especially in something that big, is going to make a real impact. I mean, other pilots know that that's a fairly routine maneuver and something, in fact, you train for anytime you train to fly an aircraft. But I'm always amazed at the impact that makes us, and it will be something to watch when you do that in a plane that size. Yeah,
well, you know, we already do the one engine shutdown here. We've done that at numerous air shows, including all week long here. I mean, we take the airplane down to about 50 feet with one engine totally feathered, and that's pretty much a non-event. From the aircraft, that portion of the maneuver, you can't even tell in the cockpit. But the two engines shut down and the dead stick, I think would be something the crowd would really like to see, and I think it would make some great press. I think if I could barrel roll it, now I'm not going to barrel roll it dead stick like Bob did, but a two-engine, nice big barrel roll, I think would be a beautiful thing to see, and I would dearly love to do it.
Well, Dan, after seeing you fly and talking to you on the phone a couple of times, it's been great to meet you in person, and thanks for joining us today.
Appreciate it, Paul. And one of these times we're going to get you in the left seat, and I'm going to wear you out in the left seat of that airplane and see what you got, all right?
Hey, I fly tail draggers. It's just a big tailwheel airplane.
It's a big tailwheel airplane. You'd be just fine.
All right. Guest has been Dan Gryder, who teaches people how to fly the DC-3 and get a type rating in it. For Aero-News and for Aero-TV, I'm Paul Plack.